If you've ever been belittled by someone who thought they could get away with it, or if you've fantasized about turning the tables in the most satisfying way, hit that like button right now, subscribe for more epic revenge tales, and let's dive into one that'll have you cheering by the end. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Let me set the scene for you. Our protagonist, let's call her Emily, was just 20 years old, navigating the choppy waters of her first serious relationship. She was young, optimistic, and maybe a little naive, fresh out of community college and working a part-time gig at a local coffee shop to make ends meet. Emily had this infectious laugh, the kind that could light up a room, and a heart as big as the ocean. She dreamed of building a life with someone who saw her worth, who treated her like an equal. But life, as we all know, doesn't always hand us the fairy tale. Enter Jake, her boyfriend of about a year. He was 22, a self-proclaimed gamer god who spent more time glued to his PlayStation than he did paying attention to her. Jake wasn't all bad, at least not at first. He had that charming smile, the one that made Emily's stomach flip when they met at a mutual friend's party. He worked as a mechanic during the day, fixing cars with grease-stained hands, and at night, he'd unwind with a six-pack and his online buddies, battling it out in virtual worlds. But alcohol brought out the monster in him. It started small. A snide comment here, a dismissive wave there. But as the months dragged on, it escalated into something darker. Picture this. It's a Friday night in their cramped one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of a mid-sized city. The walls are thin, the carpet worn from too many footsteps, and the air always carries a faint scent of takeout pizza and stale beer. Emily's just gotten home from her shift, her feet aching from standing all day, her uniform smelling like espresso and spilled milk. She's excited. Maybe tonight they can watch a movie, cuddle up, talk about their day like normal couples do. But Jake's already parked on the couch, controller in hand, headset on, a half-empty bottle of whiskey on the coffee table. "Hey, babe," she says softly, leaning in for a kiss. He barely grunts, his eyes locked on the screen where explosions and gunfire echo through the speakers. She tries again, sitting beside him, her hand on his knee. How was work? That's when it happens. He takes a swig, misses a shot in the game, and suddenly, it's her fault. "God, you're such a distraction, you know that? Move over, bitch." The word lands like a slap, sharp and stinging. Emily freezes, her chest tightening, a hot flush creeping up her neck. It's not the first time he said it. Oh no, this has become his go-to when the liquor loosens his tongue, but each time it chips away at her a little more. She feels small, invisible, like she's shrinking into the cushions. Inside her head, thoughts swirl like a storm. Why does he do this? Am I really that annoying? No, stop it, Emily. You don't deserve this. Her hands tremble as she stands up, retreating to the kitchen to pour herself a glass of water, anything to steady the rage bubbling up. She glances back at him, laughing with his friends over the mic, completely oblivious to the hurt he's caused. That night, she cries herself to sleep in the bedroom while he games until 3 a.m., the blue glow from the TV seeping under the door like a mocking reminder. This wasn't a one-off. Jake's drinking habits turned their relationship into a minefield. Sober, he could be sweet, bringing her flowers after a fight, promising to change. But 3 beers in, and the insults flew. Stupid! Nag! Worthless! Always tied to his gaming sessions, as if losing a match gave him permission to lash out. Emily felt trapped. She loved him, or thought she did, and at 20, breaking up seemed like the end of the world. Friends told her to leave, but she'd brush it off. "He's just stressed," she'd say, but deep down, the disrespect gnawed at her soul. It was the underestimation that hurt most, like she was just background noise in his life, not a partner. Weeks turned into months, and the cycle repeated. Emily's confidence eroded. She'd catch her reflection in the mirror, eyes puffy from silent tears, wondering when she'd become this version of herself. Timid, always walking on eggshells. The injustice burned. Why should he get to unwind by tearing her down? Where was her escape? She started journaling her thoughts, scribbling furious entries about the power imbalance. He thinks he can call me names without consequence. But what if I showed him what a bitch really looks like? The turning point came on a rainy Tuesday evening. Emily had had a rough day. A customer yelled at her over a wrong order. Her boss docked her pay for being 5 minutes late. She came home seeking comfort, but Jake was already deep into his ritual. Controller clicking furiously, bottle clinking against the table. She tried to talk, to vent, but he waved her off. "Not now, Em." I'm in a raid. Frustration mounted as she paced the living room, her pulse quickening. Then another loss in the game, and out it came. "This is bullshit. And you hovering isn't helping, you dumb bitch." Something snapped. Emily's vision blurred with hot tears, but beneath the pain, a spark ignited. Cold, calculated fury. She stormed to the bedroom, slamming the door, her breaths coming in short, ragged gasps. No more, she thought. Fists clenched so tight her nails dug into her palms. If he wants a bitch, he'll get one. But on my terms. That's when the idea hit her like a lightning bolt. She remembered how their Wi-Fi was set up. Jake had connected everything through the router app on their phones for convenience. She could control devices remotely. And his PlayStation? It was right there in the list. Her heart raced as she opened the app, fingers hovering over the disconnect button. Is this petty? Yes. But he deserves it. A wicked smile crept across her face for the first time in weeks. This wasn't just revenge, it was reclamation. She was taking back the power he'd stolen, one glitch at a time. The first execution happened that very night. Jake was back at it, yelling into his headset about strategy with his buddies, guys he'd known since high school, all equally obsessed with rankings and kills. Emily sat on the bed, phone in hand, pretending to scroll through social media. She waited until he was mid-match, the tension in his voice building as he coordinated an attack. Click. She disconnected the PlayStation from the Wi-Fi. On the living room TV, the screen froze. "Connection lost," the error message blared in bold red letters. Jake cursed under his breath, his face twisting in confusion. "What the hell?" "Guys, hold on. My internet just crapped out." Emily bit her lip to stifle a giggle, her body buzzing with adrenaline. She could hear him fumbling, standing up, checking the router lights, which blinked green as always. His phone was still online. He tested it, brows furrowed. "Router's fine. Must be the console." He restarted the PlayStation, the familiar boot-up chime echoing through the apartment. Emily watched the app, timing it perfectly. As it powered on, she reconnected it. The system hummed back to life, Wi-Fi icon solid. Jake settled in, relieved. "Okay, back in. Let's go." But just as he loaded into the lobby, hearts pounding in virtual anticipation, bam! Disconnected again. Emily's thumb hovered like a trigger, pulling it at the peak moment. Jake's frustration boiled over. He slammed the controller down, the plastic thudding against the table. "This piece of shit! Guys, I don't know what's going on. It's like the internet's possessed." His friends laughed over the mic, teasing him about his janky setup. Emily leaned against the doorframe, feigning concern. "Everything okay?" she asked innocently, her voice steady despite the thrill coursing through her veins. "Yeah, just tech issues," he muttered, not suspecting a thing. She did it twice more that night, short bursts of disconnection, enough to drive him mad, but not so frequent as to raise alarms. Each time his troubleshooting grew more frantic, unplugging cables, resetting the modem, even calling his ISP hotline, only to hear everything was fine on their end. By the end of the session, he was red-faced, veins bulging in his neck, muttering about random glitches. Emily retreated to bed that night with a sense of empowerment she hadn't felt in ages. Her body relaxed into the sheets, a satisfied sigh escaping her lips. That felt good. Really good. It was like scratching an itch she'd ignored for too long. The revenge wasn't violent or destructive. It was subtle, psychological, hitting him where it hurt, his sacred gaming time. And the best part? He had no idea it was her. But one night wasn't enough. Emily's pettiness evolved into a calculated campaign. She spaced it out, rare occasions, as she put it, to keep it unpredictable. Sometimes a week would pass without incident, lulling him into security. Then, on a night when he was particularly vile, maybe after a drinking binge where he called her names in front of his online friends, she'd strike. Let's zoom in on one epic session. It was a weekend tournament, high stakes in their gaming circle. Jake had been hyping it up all week, stocking up on energy drinks and snacks. Emily played the supportive girlfriend, making him a sandwich, but inside she seethed from his earlier outburst. "You're useless around here, always in the way." As the match started, the apartment filled with the rapid-fire sounds of buttons mashing, Jake's focused grunts. Mid-round, with his team on the brink of victory. Disconnect. The screen lagged, then blacked out. "No, no, no!" Jake yelled, leaping to his feet. His hands shook as he checked connections, sweat beading on his forehead. Emily, from the kitchen, called out, "Babe, need help?" Her tone was sweet, but her mind raced. "Troubleshoot that, you jerk." He rebooted, reconnected, thanks to her sneaky toggle, and jumped back in, only to get kicked again right before a crucial kill. His friends' voices crackled through the headset. "Dude, you're lagging us out. Fix your shit." Jake's face crumpled in humiliation, his ego bruised. He paced the room, muttering theories. Maybe it's the neighbors stealing bandwidth. Or a firmware glitch. Emily watched from afar, her heart swelling with vindication. Each disconnect was a tiny victory, a payback for every insult. The real genius was in the persistence. She'd hit him with clusters, 2 or 3 in a row, then stop, leaving him paranoid. Over time, Jake started questioning everything. He'd spend hours online, reading forums about intermittent PSN issues, buying new cables, even upgrading his router. Emily overheard him venting to his friends. "It's weird, man. Happens randomly, but when it does, it's like clockwork. Drives me insane." Their sympathy only fueled her glee. They have no clue it's me, the bitch pulling the strings. As the weeks wore on, the emotional toll on Jake mounted. His gaming sessions shortened. He'd quit early, frustrated and defeated. Emily's internal world shifted too, from victim to victor. She stood taller, her smiles genuine again. The power dynamic flipped subtly. He started being nicer, perhaps sensing her growing detachment. But she wasn't done yet. The climax hit during a massive online event, a clan war with prizes on the line. Jake was amped, inviting friends over for a watch party. Beers flowed, trash talk ensued. Emily played hostess, but her phone was her weapon. As the final round peaked, tension thick in the air. Disconnect. Chaos erupted. Jake's controller flew across the room, cracking against the wall. "What the fuck is wrong with this thing?" His friends stared, awkward silence broken by nervous laughs. He troubleshot frantically, sweat dripping, face a mask of rage and confusion. Reconnect. Bam! Gone again. The match ended without him, his team losing by a hair. Humiliation washed over him like a wave. He punched the couch, veins throbbing. "I swear, this console is cursed." Emily, sipping her drink, felt a rush of triumph surge through her. "This is for every name you called me. Feel the powerlessness now." In that moment, as he stormed off to the balcony for a smoke, Emily's body tingled with release. Relief flooded her, validation that she wasn't weak, that justice could be hers. Jake never connected the dots. To him, it was just bad luck. But for her, it was catharsis. Looking back, this story isn't just about petty tech sabotage. It's a reminder of how small acts of disrespect can erode a soul, and how reclaiming your power, even in subtle ways, can heal it. Emily eventually left Jake, realizing she deserved better. And him? He ditched the PlayStation altogether, switching to PC gaming, but the paranoia lingered. Karma has a funny way of biting back, doesn't it? It teaches us that true justice often comes from within, from standing up for ourselves when no one else will. What do you think? Was her revenge justified or too far? If this tale of cunning comeback left you fist pumping or gave you those satisfying chills, smash that like button and drop a comment below. What's the pettiest revenge you've ever pulled off or witnessed? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more Reddit revenge stories that hit right in the feels. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.